On this special episode of Without a Shadow of a Doubt, we're going to continue talking a little bit about the dirty money that has influenced Stockton Unified School District and our locally elected school board, as well as locally elected school boards all over the nation. These 10 billionaire families are complicit in the attempts to privatize public education nationwide, and they've been joined by a host of politicians on both sides of the aisle. In Stockton, we are currently undergoing an attack by the Destroy Public Education movement, and when observing the key model components paraphrased by the work of Diane Ravitch, we got to this list. In 2018, when I first began to investigate what was happening in our national education institutions, I felt like a conspiracy theorist. Who was going to believe that billionaires were working together to further destroy public education like the Rockefeller family when it made industrialization and business the main goal of intellectual endeavors nationwide like 100 years ago? So everything got even more conspiracy-like when I discovered the work of Gail Cosby, Nate Williams, and Jim Sherridge. These are the researchers from Indiana who defined the DPE, Destroy Public Education model. Now, imagine learning about this study and this model and thinking, there's no way some crazy conspiracy thing like that is happening. It definitely can't happen in a place no one knows exists like Stockton, California. Or, even if this isn't some crazy conspiracy, how would you plan to change that? What you may be asking yourself at this point is, how did it start and where do we go from here? Back here in Stockton, during the 2016 and 2018 election years, we began to see an influx of youthful energy engaging in civic discussions, decision-making, and leadership. The most well-known and likely ringleader of this group is former mayor of Stockton, California, Michael Tubbs, the youngest mayor in Stockton history and the city's first black mayor. The SUSD Board of Trustees trio of Lang Lungtao, Angel Ann Flores, and Candelaria Vargas were elected in 2016 and 2018. Between 2012 and 2022, the Tubbs political cabal used their political platform to promote candidates for the Stockton City Council, Stockton Unified School District Board of Trustees, and San Joaquin County Board of Supervisors. For a young man from one of the poorest areas in America to rise to such heights, it was like a Hollywood movie or two come true. And so the connections between Tubbs, former superintendent of Stockton Unified School District John Deasy, a grifter named Don Shalvey, and local developers conspired to use these positions for gain and or harm of the district. This network of politicians, community organizers, and developers are part of the reason why we're saying that Stockton has hit 8 of the 10 indicators on the Destroy Public Education Model list. Former superintendent of Stockton Unified School District John Deasy, with the support of 3 trustees, Lang Lungtao, Angel Ann Flores, and Candelaria Vargas, along with Michael Tubbs, helped to fast-track the approval of 6 charter school petitions in Stockton Unified School District, and all were approved amazingly via consent agenda. And what this means is that this eliminated any discussion or input from the public or from trustees on April 23rd, or from trustees on April 23rd, 2019. Mr. Deasy went further in his support of charter schools, developers, and the Tubbs agenda when he brought forth 2 resolutions in 30 days at the end of 2019 in October and November to waive developer fees for affordable housing projects within the school district and the city of Stockton. Both resolutions failed, but these actions in support of the Destroy Public Education movement proved to be the beginning of the end of John Deasy and the Tubbs cabal. In April of 2020, the SUSD Board of Trustees voted 4-3 to accept the resignation of John Deasy amid investigations into conflicts of interest into contracts between Reinvent Stockton Foundation, where Lang Lungtao was a director, and the school district. The $2 million waiver of developer fees was not part of that investigation, but was highly scrutinized because the project was being pushed by then Stockton Mayor Michael Tubbs, who is the best friend of Lang Lungtao, in order to provide housing for new teacher incentive and retention programs within the district to be developed by contributors to his campaign. The backlash from the Tubbs cabal on trustees was swift as Tubbs took to Twitter fingers to broadcast his frustration that his chosen superintendent was no longer in the district. Let's revisit our list of indicators of the Destroy Public Education movement again. Which numbers do you think we've seen or experienced already? We'll go through them like this. So number one, business is the best model for schools. The Tubbs Cabal works utilizing methods that align with number one on our list. Number two, a local national collaboration between wealthy conservatives, sometimes far right, a huge infusion of new dollars into school board elections or dark money. And so next we'll talk about the collaborators between locals like Michael Tubbs and wealthy contributors to attack public education here in Stockton. We're going to skip over 4, 5, and 6 for another day, but Stockton Unified transitioned to a centralized enrollment model within the last 5 years. Many groups like Faith in the Valley, Reinvent Stockton Foundation, Restore the Delta, Little Manila Rising, and others have been activated by large donations from local national connections in support of the DPE movement. And we're going to see some of that documentation. And that's number 7. A funding conduit for national, local, wealthy individuals, organizations to support local DPE initiatives. And then 8, 9, and 10, we're going to take a look at that. But that pretty much happened with the fast tracking of charter schools and the conspiracy between politicians to waive developer fees for their contributors. So that's 8, integration of charter schools into traditional public schools with rules favoring charter schools, developing networks of local organizations or affiliates that collaborate on the agenda, number 9, and number 10, support for gentrification. But like I said, next we're going to talk about the collaborations between locals like Michael Tubbs and wealthy contributors to attack public education. Pictures of Mike Bloomberg, Bill and Melinda Gates, and Eli Broad. They represent 3 of the 10 families that want to privatize public education, but we're going to focus on Mike Bloomberg and Bill Gates. Now, remember, the DPE model indicators, and we've touched on them a bit, let's see if you can catch them in action. The Tubbs Cabal voting bloc in SUSD was, once again, Angel Ann Flores, Lang Lungtao, and Candelaria Vargas. What people don't realize, though, is how close these 3 were connected to each other and Michael Tubbs. People also don't realize how supported Tubbs was by the likes of Mike Bloomberg and Bill Gates. Lungtao and the 2 new Cabal recruits during the 2020 elections benefited by a 25-to-1 spending advantage, and all 3 candidates lost despite support from the City Fund, where Bill Gates is a contributor, and directly from Mike Bloomberg himself. After approving 3 consecutive budgets of structural deficit spending in 2018, 2019, 2019, 2020, and 2020, 2021, the structural deficit amounts of negative $22 million, negative $34 million, and negative $59 million were a massive amount that when we looked at our general funds from 2016, 2017 of a high of $142 million, we began to see that over $100 million deficit was utilized, and none of it was acknowledged by anyone until after Superintendent Deasy had come and gone. Does this bring to mind any indicators from the list? We also began to see floods of money coming into Tubbs Cabal and developer-linked community groups like the Community Foundation of San Joaquin, Silicon Schools Fund, Faith in the Valley Church, Little Manila Foundation, Reinvent Stockton Foundation, and others. Angel Ann Flores, Lang Lungtao, and Candelaria Vargas were the first attempt at takeover and destruction of Stockton Unified by privatization, but they weren't the last. Once the public caught on that something was not right, Michael Tubbs lost his re-election campaign despite having the money. Lang Lungtao lost his re-election campaign despite the money. Lang Lungtao's 2 running mates in 2020 both lost despite the money. And Candelaria Vargas quit the board, leaving Flores as the sole Cabal member into the elections of 2022, when the dark money from Michael Tubbs, Mike Bloomberg, and Bill Gates surfaced again, just like before 2020. This time, it came in the form of Don Shalvey, who not only worked directly for the Bill Gates Foundation in the past, his organization, San Joaquin A+, has received millions of dollars from Bill Gates foundation directly since 2020. It also came in the form of the City Fund, Mike Bloomberg, and a Michael Tubbs-backed slate of SUSD trustee candidates led by Angel Ann Flores. The foursome of Angel Ann Flores, Donald Donaire, Kenitha Stevens, and Sophia Colon represent one of the biggest successes of the Detroit public education movement in history to date. In Stockton, we have a choice. Will we continue to turn a blind eye to billionaires who hide in the shadows and pay operatives to propagandize their message as the voice of our community? Or will we wise up and take control of the game they've played on us? Whatever you do, whatever we do, make sure that you think for yourself and only take action once you're sure that you know what you're facing, without a shadow of a doubt.
Thank you, Clerk Colon. First, I want to apologize for the disappointing and continuous chaos through malicious distractions and personal attacks, especially during a time of great work being done here in Stockton Unified. Under my board leadership, we have kept true to our mission when we chose to serve in these positions to lead the district with integrity and transparency. With great leadership comes great sacrifice and accountability. What does accountability look like in action? It means the understanding that one's actions have a direct effect on greater things and is held responsible to see that their action is achieving the greater good. We serve in an educational institution because we believe that all students, regardless of race, mental, or socioeconomic status, are to be met with an equitable education that meets all of their needs. Under my presidency, through accountability, we have 1, removed legal counsel that the grand jury noted in their report. 2, launched investigations into unethical and illegal contracts. 3, launched an investigation into the procurement process of all questionable contracts and promised to hold all those who participated to be held liable. 4, responded to the FICMAT and grand jury reports with dates changes and corrections requested. 5, reinstated subcommittees for public input and voice. 6, we've live streamed all of our board meetings now. 7, we've corrected the ESSER funding positions and funding sources. 8, we are now leading listening sessions acknowledging the low employee morale. We have a lot more work to do and lots of more house cleaning we must do. There are some folks who will be uncomfortable with the new culture of what accountability and transparency looks like here in Stockton Unified. Those are the ones who will run, shout louder, and complain. I say this who still choose to stay in the good fight. I, Angel Ann Flores, your school board president, will continue to serve and stand proudly as we continue to rebuild, restore, and demand results. You and your dedication is not to be without notice. Stay focused, stay dedicated, and stay in the good fight. United, we are strong, and united, we will stand. We are Stockton Unified, and student-centered is how we will lead.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man? Bro, I'm out, man. That nigga's tripping.
Trustee Donald Donaire.
Hello, everyone. I have no report at this time.
I have served this district with integrity and dedication, with transparency and accountability. I have endured attacks on every aspect of my entire life. I have been committed to ensuring that all students receive the best quality education, regardless of their backgrounds. It is disappointing the amount of corruption, unethical, unprofessional, and unbecoming behaviors we have witnessed within our high-ranking educational positions, such as our fellow board members, superintendent, CBO, and direct cabinet staff, when being asked to provide goal, results, and data. It's important to maintain ethical standards in all professions, especially in education, where the well-being and future of our students are at stake. I have kept politics out of my work and prioritized the needs of our students, teachers,
staff, parents, and community. Yet, it is disheartening to see people in positions of power putting their own interest ahead of the needs of the students they are supposed to serve. As an educator and as a public servant, it is essential to uphold the highest standards of ethics and professionalism. It is unacceptable for those in positions of power to engage in corrupt or unethical behavior that undermines the quality of education and the well-being of our students. I understand that it could be difficult to speak out against those in authority, but as an elected official, it is my responsibility as board president to hold those in power accountable for their actions. There has been a narrative been shared about me that I am a bully and belittling staff. I've never belittled and berated any staff. I have asked for results and accountability. I depended on people to put students before their own egos, power control, power struggle, and need to control a narrative in order to fit their agenda. I assure you that this false narrative saying that I have forced people to resign, those two individuals had already looked elsewhere in their positions before I came into this role. The second person who is not here today is not here triggered because of me. She is forgetting to tell you all that she was a victim of a mass shooting in Las Vegas and therefore is triggered by any accountable or any overwhelming situation. They have been encouraged by head leadership to complain and promote lawsuits. They have taken time away from work to focus on student achievement, instead to focus on gossiping and providing false narratives about your board president. I am telling the truth. I will stand on my righteous truth until the day that I am no longer here. I urge you, as a member of the district, a member of our community, and parents who care to join me in standing up against corruption and unethical behavior in our educational system. We must demand that our leaders act with integrity and put the needs of our students first. I will continue to serve in this fight for the best interest of our students, and I hope you will join me in this fight. Together, we will make a difference and create a better future for our community. So when I say staff, thank you for focusing on student achievement and not participating in this. With my deepest heartfelt condolences, I am sorry that you have been caught in the middle of childish, mean girl behavior.
You son of a biscuit-eating bulldog.
What the French,
Did you
Toast?
think I wouldn't find out about your little doo-doo head cootie queen?
Who are you calling a cootie queen, you lint liquor?
Trustee Donald Donaire.
No report.
I say this who still choose to stay in the good fight. I, Angel Ann Flores, your school board president, will continue to serve and stand proudly as we continue to rebuild, restore, and demand results.
I smell a little crack in you. Might have been 30 years ago. The more I look at you, the more you smell like crack.
I would like to express my concerns on charter interests and their relation to our search for a new superintendent. I am concerned that charter interests are trying to build influence in our district and dominate the selection process for our next superintendent. I was alarmed to see Don Shalvey and two others from San Joaquin A+ on the panel to select candidates for a new superintendent.
What is this, baby?
While I seldom agree with the way Trustee Zulieta votes, I do agree with his position that charter interests are bad for our district, employee associations and unions, parents, and other stakeholders, and most importantly, our students.
See you on our next episode of Without a Shadow of a Doubt.